Guys, what's up? Today I'm going to be doing a video on the care for my African fire skink. I've had him for a long time and I really like him. He's very beautiful. He's not the nicest. I mean, this is my thumb from yesterday, tore it open. He's not the nicest, but he's really beautiful. And for a fire skink, he actually does have pretty good temperament. So in this video, I'll be including feeding, lighting, heating, pretty much all the general care. I know I've done another video on him, but I wanted to give you a follow-up video. I've had him for a little longer. I've learned a few more things. So without further ado, let's get on with the video. Okay, so starting off with the size, females of the species, when they get the biggest, they're slightly smaller and leaner than the males. They share about the same colors. When they're hatchlings, they are very small, and then they'll actually have a growth spurt, almost like an adolescent human, and get really big really fast. And by really big, for this species, really big is like 7 inches. So you really don't have to worry that much size-wise about these guys. Okay, food-wise, these guys are insectivorous, which means they diet on a variety of bugs. I feed my guy about 5 crickets every day. If I can't, I feed him 15 every other day. He won't always eat them all at once because these guys, this is very important, they are burrowing. They are burrowing skinks, which means that they're going to burrow under the ground and spend most of their time under the ground. I'll get into that later in the video, but what you're going to want to know, don't be alarmed if you don't see them eat at start. Just make sure you're checking to see that there's not as many crickets as there were when you first put them in there. Maybe after 2 days, check. That's what I usually do, but he seems to be a pretty good eater. As I said, they're insectivorous, so you can feed them waxworms, superworms, cockroaches. I feed him mostly crickets, as I said. He actually seems not to like to eat superworms. They're a little too big for him. Big female dubia roaches are also a little too big for him, but I do feed him male dubia roaches and baby dubia roaches. As with any reptiles, these guys should have a hot and a cool side. The cool side should be around 84 to 86 degrees, and the basking spot should be about 92 to 96 degrees. At nighttime, sometimes I have it go almost to 65 degrees. They will be burrowing underground, so most of the heat will be stored there. Humidity-wise, they benefit from it a lot because they're going to be burrowing, and you want it to be very moist so they won't get cut or ingest any dirt. They benefit from UVA exposure. I have a 40 watt in there, pretty simple. So that's pretty much all you need for the fire skinks: lighting, humidity, and heating wise. Okay, now for one of my favorite parts of keeping this animal, the tank enclosure. As I said before, this is not his tank. His tank is 50 gallons, which is ideal. 40 could work, 35 I don't suggest, but it can work. With these guys, you could include a whole bunch of artificial plants. They have been known to sometimes take bites at living plants, so I wouldn't recommend putting it in with them. As with any desert animals such as leopard geckos or even bearded dragons, you just don't want them ingesting any plants that aren't safe for them. I have a hide for him. He never uses it. I have a water dish. I've never seen him in it, but he obviously does drink with it. You're going to want about 3 to 4 inches of substrate at the bottom. As I said, these guys are burrowing skinks. That's very important. If you really want to see them, then you might be out of luck, because if you're going to give them the optimal cage, they're probably going to be buried, and you won't be able to see them unless you take them out. For top of the substrate, I have a few springtails in there with him. I include a whole bunch of crumpled up leaves that I find around my home. I do a lot of that. I include some sticks. He doesn't really climb on the top, but you just want a lot of humidity in there, and crumpled up leaves can hold the humidity just as good as sphagnum moss, at least for me, so that's why I use them. I do put a little sphagnum moss in, but I find that it dries out really quick in the heating. Availability-wise, these guys are very common. You can find them at your local Petco, All Pets Club. I got this guy at the White Plains Reptile Expo. There's not going to be that much of a problem. You're going to find them everywhere. They're very common pets. They're very beautiful, so obviously they're going to be sold. I got this guy for around $40. Some range from $50 to even $10. They could be very cheap. Don't buy hatchlings. They tend to have a lot of birth defects that they might not live through. These guys are prone subject to incest in the pet trade, which is not good because that could obviously lead to a lot of birth defects. Next off, we're going to be talking about, can these guys be kept with each other? You can keep a male and a female if they're about the same size together. They might even show signs of being a mated pair, but I do not recommend keeping a male and a male, or two males and a female, two females and a male, or two females. I have had problems in the past with them biting each other. That's never good, and they can be pretty territorial. But you could keep a male and a female. They seem to do pretty well. Even if they're not interested in mating, they seem to be pretty apt at spending time around each other without fighting, so that's pretty good. So if you're gonna get two of these guys, maybe for a little like 55 gallon aquarium, then you're gonna want to make sure that there's a male and a female. They can be hard to sex, so ask your pet supplier about their sex, but besides that, definitely just get a male and a female, or a male or a female alone. Lifespan wise, they do live pretty long. They can live up to 20 years. Most live around 15 years. That seems very long for a reptile, but really it's pretty average. Even leopard geckos could reach that age. I mean, I have a tiger salamander that could live up to 40 years. A fire salamander. So pets live pretty long, but this could be a holdup. Make sure you tell your parents if you're a kid about this, because I'm sure they don't want to be taking care of it when you go to college. My parents, they enjoy taking care of them, so I kind of lucked out, but that is a major holdback for getting one of these guys. So water-wise, as I said earlier, finding your skink in a water dish is pretty uncommon. You probably won't find them in there, but obviously they will drink. You're going to want pretty shallow. These guys are horrible swimmers. Trust me, even my fat bearded dragon Hermione could swim better than them. No offense, Hermione, I love you. But anyways, these guys, they will just, this is actually the water dish I use for him. It's not that big at all, but he seems to get what he needs from it. It dries up really fast. I haven't found out why. Like, I'll refill it, and then with the heat, I'll come back 30 minutes later, and all the water will be gone. So I'm not sure what's happening there. It might just be a kind of just problem for me, or tell me in the comments if it happens to you too. But water-wise, it's not that important for these guys, but you're definitely obviously going to want to give them at least a shallow water dish to drink from. Okay, after I think it's been 11 failed attempts at handling him, I'm going to try to show you again me handling him. These guys are pretty docile, have a pretty good temperament. This guy hates me, I don't know why. I give him a pretty good enclosure, but you got those sketchy animals everywhere, and he is in captivity, so you have to give him a little slack. They can be pretty squirmy, but you really just don't want to take your chances if you really don't want to get bit, because these guys hurt a lot when they get bit. I've been bitten in the eye by my boa constrictor, and it doesn't even compare to what it's like to get freaking death rolled by one of these guys. So let's see if I could get him out without getting my finger bitten off. Oh God. Another thing I wanted to mention, my guy has lost his tail. That's common in the pet trade, as with any animal that loses its tail. Okay, I got him a little there. Just drop him down there. This is my new dog, Chance. He's checking this out. Okay, so we got him right here. He likes to chill in the sun. I don't pick him up for that long. When I first got him, he let me hold him, but now he's kind of secluded. He likes just burrowing under, but he's very pretty when you get him out, so I do enjoy having him. So that's gonna about wrap up this episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. On my first fire skink care video, it wasn't that good. Actually, it was pretty cringy, but I got so much support. It's at about 4,000 views now, so thank you so much for that. I hope you enjoyed the video. Nathan's Nature TV, signing out. One last ending disclaimer. This is not the tank that I keep him in. I can't tell you how many times I've written that in the description and said it at the end of the video, and I've still got people really mad. So I just want you to know this is not the tank that he is currently living in. And also, these guys do have pretty good temperament, but if your parents don't want you to get a pet that could potentially hurt you, I don't recommend getting one of these guys.